Hey everyone, my name is Vinti, and if this is your first time tuning in, I am making videos to track my journey as I transform our backyard into the garden oasis that I've always dreamed it to be. So this is week 10, this is my 10th video, and I am inside today because it is really windy outside, even though it's very nice and sunny, as you can see behind me, but I don't have a lav mic, and if I tried to record audio outside on my iPhone right now, there would just be so much background noise. So I thought I'd do things a little bit differently today. I thought we'd sit down where we can have some tea together. I have a candle lit here, so we can just kind of relax and chat about what's going on in the garden. I just wanted to quickly reflect on these past 10 weeks, and these videos are really kind of making me accountable to get things done in the garden. It's funny because I'll think to myself, okay, well, I have to go out and do something, so I have something to show and something to talk about. So I have really been going out as often as I can and working on the backyard, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done. It's nowhere near, ready to be shown in a garden tour or anything like that, but I'm definitely loving every step of the journey. So let's talk about what I did this week. The big things that I accomplished is I planted our second dogwood tree. So I had purchased 2 dogwood trees from the nursery. My intention was just to buy 1 tree, but then they were on sale for $50 each, so I got both. I moved a juniper that was in one of the landscaping beds in front of the shed. I moved it over to the other side because what I'm doing on kind of we'll call it the left bed and the right bed. So what I'm doing on the, sorry, I'm playing with my hair. What I'm doing on the left side is I've decided to make that landscaping bed sort of semicircle shaped, because when we put down the pavers to kind of create that side path to get to the side shed where we store our wood and stuff like that, I realized that those pavers made kind of like a nice semicircle shape. And so I thought, why not make the bed kind of align with that and make this sort of, it's almost like going to be like a quarter circle that is from the ramp to the side of the shed. And so I decided to move one of the blue sky junipers that was over on the other side of the ramp to the left side, and next to the existing blue sky juniper on the left side, and those two next to each other are going to kind of make the ground cover plants that are like the frontmost layer of that semicircle bed. So after I moved that, there was a hole on the right side of that right bed, and I was just going to fill it in, but then I was looking at it, I was like, that would be the perfect spot for that second tree. So that tree actually only has 1 leader now. There were 2 on it when I bought it, but one of them, when I put it in my car, the way it was hitting the roof, it snapped off. So now there's just 1 main leader with a bunch of the smaller stems that had been trimmed. They are growing leaves and they're doing nicely, but it's going to be like a little bit of an odd shaped tree because it's going to have like 1 big leader and then a bunch of smaller ones under it. It is kind of close to the shed, but I think it'll be okay. I'm actually more worried about the fact that it's so close to the raised beds, and when it eventually has a canopy, it might shade the raised beds, but honestly, that's years and years away. This tree apparently only grows 1 to 2 feet a year, so we'll deal with it when we get there. We might not even be living here anymore, so like right now I'm kind of treating it like kind of a shrub. So I got that tree in the ground, and then now that I've kind of decided what shape I want the left landscaping bed to take, I've been ripping up the weeds and the grass. but I haven't mulched it yet. I want to put in the new plants and then I'll mulch the whole thing. I need to go and buy those plants. I want to just get a bunch of hardy, low maintenance perennials. That area back there is basically sun to part sun. So I think I'm going to do like echinacea, salvia, yarrow, just those like very tried and true, trusted plants. I'm not really going to try to get too fancy. I may pop in like a couple of annuals in there just for fun. And there is also one bush that I bought from Home Depot last year that I couldn't figure out where I wanted to plant it. I just like fell in love with the bush. It was this like cute little like green tufted thing. So I think I'm going to stick that closer to the back. So really excited to fill that section up with plants. I kind of wanted to have a cottage garden vibe. Like I really just wanted to be stuffed with a whole bunch of different just like flowers and shrubs just growing wild on top of one another. So that's my vision for that section. And I thought that since it's been 10 weeks, it would be a good time to kind of reflect on what I've accomplished so far and what I still need to do. So I made kind of a list and I'll just refer to it here. So in the raised bed section, what I accomplished is I have 2 new planters, and so I really want that whole, that side of the fence, I want that filled with all sorts of planters and pots all on top of one another, growing all different things. That's like my vision for that. So I love the wheelbarrow planter. I love how that's turned out. And the recycled planter next to it. As well as the galvanized planter. Some of the ground cover that I planted last year is coming back in, and there's a weed in that planter that's just like gorgeous. I just really love it, so I haven't pulled it out. But what I still need to do is there's still a whole bunch of pots that are just like in disarray that, need something in them. And there's a whole just like empty section that just needs more planters and stuff. And that'll just take time, but I know that will get there. We've talked about replacing the raised beds themselves. We had a really big storm last year that these huge branches fell on the raised beds, and when I first, like right after the storm passed, I looked out there, I thought like all of our raised beds were destroyed, but luckily they weren't really. Just a little bit of damage. But also my husband built those raised beds from pallets that he recycled, and they're just starting to show a little bit of wear. So we've talked about like maybe like getting galvanized siding or something. That's a little bit longer term, but that's something that we'd like to do. We'd also like to put in new gravel in the raised bed section. And then I also just kind of need to start planning for now that the weather is getting warmer. Cold crop season is kind of passing, so I just have to start thinking about what plants do I want to plant in the raised beds next. Another thing that we accomplished in the past 10 weeks was building a brand new ramp for this shed. And shout out to my husband because he's really the one who made that possible. We now have this 8-foot beautiful ramp that's very strong. It's so easy to get our bikes and our equipment in and out of the shed, where before we had this just like old piece of fence that it wasn't great, and I thought it was so ugly. So it's so nice to have our new ramp up. And something that we still need to do is replace the pavers, because some of the pavers are now cracked. They're still functional. They still work totally fine. It's just more of an aesthetic thing. So again, that might be like a little bit more of a longer term thing, but that is a fix that we could do to the hardscaping that would like give an immediate just like facelift and boost to the backyard. And another thing that we have accomplished is making our patio more livable. So whereas before it wasn't too comfortable, now we have a couch, we have a lounge chair, we have a heat lamp. So we've been spending a lot of time out there. It's really nice. And one thing that we kind of still need to do is get an umbrella, because when the sun is shining down directly on the back porch, it does get very hot, which, you know, as we get closer to summer, it's just going to get hotter. So that is an investment that we could still make to make the deck more comfortable. And then lastly, I think the flower shrub garden looks much nicer than it did this time last year. But one thing that we can still do is maybe fill it in with some more, you know, like maybe like hostas and some annuals, because the flower shrubs that are there, when they mature, they will be very large, and I think they'll you know, be touching. They'll fill up that whole space. But until then, there's going to be like gaps between them. So I was thinking of just sort of filling them in again with like some hostas or just something like that. So that is the update for this week. Thank you so much for those of you who keep consistently tuning in every week. For anyone who's new, thank you so much for giving me a try. I really hope that you subscribe. I try to put out a new video every Sunday morning. And until next week, I will see you then. Please do leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. All right. Until next time, bye.